Now, let me say this to, the diaspora and Jamaicans locally. The Jamaica Labour Party, as we know it, as it relates to Andrew Holness administration, I'm going to say a precursor before I start anything, because tonight is different. Tonight is different. The reason why tonight is different is that we are going to address the real issues, and we are going to bring it forth in such a chronological sequence where everyone can simply understand. So let me begin by saying, right, to Andrew Holness and in extension his administration, that Andrew Holness administration is in a conundrum. Yes. Now we have seen where certain narrative has come out via, of course, Cliff Hughes' channel. And so then let me try to explain that situation. Now, Cliff Hughes doesn't have a choice in terms of defending the Jamaica Labour Party, whether they are wrong or right. Cliff Hughes has been backed into a corner. The corner that Cliff Hughes backed in is to the fact that Cliff Hughes owed, of course, several amount of tax dollars, right, to the government. And of course, Cliff Hughes want to, get some leniency where that is concerned. Cliff Hughes know that if and when, right, the opposition, right, comes in power, Cliff Hughes know that the opposition is not going to be tolerable for him to be dodging tax and not paying tax. Now, before I go any further, I want to say, big up brother Rattigan. Tonight is a very important night. We know that Mario will be joining us early. So let me just give you the opportunity to greet your subscribers. My subscribers or your subscribers, sir. To greet the family. Let me give you that opportunity to greet the family.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Marie, big up yourself, Byron, all of the people and our people and our family members
Exactly.
in the chat, and all of the people who are watch and enjoy the program. Big up on yourself. Welcome. It's my greatest pleasure to be here. There are many things going on tonight, but I'd much rather be here, and that's why I'm here. The other things we can read about them later on, But no, we have important things to talk about. And when Byron gave me that call and said, listen, I need you.
Yes.
My only duty was to say, I'll be there.
Thank you.
That's it. So, thanks for the invitation again. And again, it's my pleasure to be here.
All the time.
Love having you.
All the time. All right. So as I was saying, that Andrew Holness and his administration in a conundrum. Now, let us make it clear that as we speak tonight, Andrew Holness' statutory declaration has not been certified. Let me repeat that. As we speak, Andrew Holness' statutory declaration cannot be certified either, and has not been certified. Now, so since we get that out of the room, and we see, certain media came out, want to get in front of the narrative and want to shape a narrative, right, without anticipating the ruling, right, as it relates to, Parliament make its decision, right, by tabling, right, the report. And we have seen that, obviously, a breach of protocol, a breach of policy, and a breach within the law as it relates to Cliff Hughes came out, right, and speak on whatever he so-called spoke on, right? But we know that, of course, what Cliff Hughes came out with is less than 1/10 of what is transpiring. Now, so let me say this, that the investigation as it relates to the Integrity Commission, Cliff Hughes, right, and those naysayers cannot spin it as it centers around 4 accounts. So I'm going to set the room clear tonight. It has nothing to do with Andrew Holness' mother's account. It has nothing to do with Andrew Holness' father's account, right? Or anyone else who attached to the account. Andrew Holness and Jlp Holness, they are the prime subject of this investigation. What is it? The Integrity Commission investigators are investigating. They are investigating illicit enrichment. So people, let us get this. They are investigating illicit enrichment. What is illicit enrichment? Based on the Integrity Commission responsibility, right, to have supervised as it relates to the members of parliament, assets, income, and liability, and where that asset, income, and liability is showing variations or variances as it relates to their wealth that they amass. So let us get this out of the way. What the Integrity Commission is investigating is illicit enrichment as it relates to their asset, income, and liability, right, is unable to justify their wealth or the wealth that they amassed. Let us drag back this. So then, when we are speaking, what are the reasons the Integrity Commission, this part is very important in terms of what I'm going to say. What is the reason or reasons the Integrity Commission is investigating Andrew? Let me say this as it relates to Andrew Holness, right, response in terms of him explaining how he amassed that wealth. 3 things that we are going to look on. Andrew Holness claimed that he amassed that wealth as it relates to supply credit, loans, and mortgages, as it relates to explaining, right, his apartment complex at the Beverly Hills that near value $200 million. So we want to get it out of the way. So then the target of the investigation is going to have an understanding of how Andrew Holness is explaining how he amassed the wealth, and the Integrity Commission is going to investigate as it relates to what Andrew Holness is responding to as it relates to how he amassed his wealth, right? Suppliers credit, loans, and mortgage. Let me say this tonight. Andrew Holness is in a conundrum, right? He's in a deep mess in terms of explaining that. So, Big Mama, let me talk to you. This has nothing to do with any 4 accounts, right, that you are running out there with narrative and make it look as if, okay, all right, it centers around 4 accounts. And so then the corruption prosecutor, right, has not seen any reason to charge Andrew Holness as it relates to, you're talking about $300,000. It has nothing to do with that. Now we clearly here, we are going to show something. Now let us show how Andrew Holness, right, want to shape the narrative. And so then, since Andrew want to shape the narrative, let us go, because tonight we are going through the details and we are going to make sure that everyone can see it clearly as it relates to Andrew Warner's statutory declaration uncertified. So let us go to our first document. To show you, what we are going to show you is to show you how Andrew Warner's led government try to control the narrative, right, and shape it in a way, right? And so then when they shape it in a way using Big Mama to shape the narrative, we realize that, right, Parliament today has not tabled, right, the report. Now, we here on social media, we are watching, we are observing as it relates to the narrative that they paint and how long that they are going to take to table the report so people can have the truth. Andrew Warnes, you're not going to get away in terms of create smoke screens, in terms of what you're doing. Tonight, we are going to shape it down for you and let you understand clear. You understand where the corruption lies. Without any delay, let us get to the first document, Corruption Nightmare, as it relates to how they want to shape the narrative. There. Now, here it is, people. The Jamaica Observer. And let me say this, as it relates to who own the Jamaica Observer, right? Owned by the Stuarts. And of course, they are capitalists. And of course, they would want to see Andrew Warnes' government remain in power. Because when Andrew Warnes' government is in power, right, the capitalists benefit. Let us put that out of the air. Corruption Nightmare, as according to the Jamaica Observer. 5 PNP, 3 Jlp politicians reported to Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment. These are the sort of lies, misinformation, disinformation that they want to throw out there. Let us get into it. Months-long probe by the Jamaica Observer has uncovered that at least 3 politicians linked to the governing Jamaica Labour Party and 5 linked to the opposition People's National Party have been referred to the Director of Investigation at the Integrity Commission following allegations of corruption, illicit enrichment. In almost all of the cases, the allegations have been made to the IC by people who claim, here, listen carefully, people, this is to tell you that they have no real source of information. The IC by people who claim to have information surrounding acts of corruption, illicit enrichment, but there is no, hear what they are saying, people? Hear the kind of power. Because when Andrew Warnes' government is in power, right, the capitalists benefit. Let us put that out of the air. Corruption Nightmare, as according to the Jamaica Observer. 5 PNP, 3 Jlp politicians reported to Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment. These are the sort of lies, misinformation, disinformation that they want to throw out there. Let us get into it. Months-long probe by the Jamaica Observer has uncovered that at least 3 politicians linked to the governing Jamaica Labour Party and 5 linked to the opposition People's National Party have been referred to the Director of Investigation at the Integrity Commission following allegations of corruption, illicit enrichment. In almost all of the cases, the allegations have been made to the IC by people who claim, here, listen carefully, people, this is to tell you that they have no real source of information. The IC by people who claim to have information surrounding acts of corruption, illicit enrichment, but there is no, hear what they are saying, people? Hear the conjunction, but there is no documentation to support these allegations based on the observer probe. So let me ask you, observer, I'm not going to go further into the, this document. Based on what you said here, and you're talking about good investigative journalism, you said here, but there is no documentation to support these allegations. So why are you... Yes, so why are you publishing this, observer? Why are you publishing this? You admitted right here that there is no documentation to support these allegations based on the observer probe. So you probe and you decide, right, to propagandize, right? That's what you do. No evidence to suggest, but you are there now to just, you know, cloud, right, the whole situation. And this is the level of corruption. And this goes to show the systematic corruption as it relates to some mainstream media who sit silent and want Andrew Holness and his minions, right, to put their fingers in the treasury, right, rob taxpayers and get away with it. Take away that.
Florence is saying, if you look carefully at the Article 2, there is no name to the document.
Exactly.
You don't even know who it is coming from.
Exactly. So take that document away. We just want to highlight that as it relates to, right, Andrew Holness, right, evil in extension. And let me say this before, because we are going to reveal some things tonight. The investigation that I had done, I'm going to show people that from the onset that Andrew Holness ventured into politics, right, the political system flag him as someone corrupted. We are going to reveal the document, right, as it relates to his political career. The very first entrance in the political process, the political system flagged Andrew Holness as a corrupter. The very first entry. We are going to show that tonight. Now, let us move as it relates to good leadership, checks and balance, honesty and integrity that goes against, right, refuting what we have just seen.
The following is a release from the People's National Party Media Unit.
I wish to address an article published by the Jamaica Observer today, which is filled with speculation, innuendo, and unfounded allegations. The article claims to report on an investigation involving 8 politicians, it says, from the JLP and PNP. The Observer article states that, and I quote, "In almost all of the cases, the allegations have been made to the Integrity Commission by people who claim to have information surrounding acts of corruption or illicit enrichment, but there is no documentation to support these allegations," end quote. In other words, malicious stories may have been concocted and sent to the Integrity Commission for partisan political reasons without any foundation whatsoever. I want the public to note that this reporting by the Jamaica Observer is entirely separate from the 8 sitting members of Parliament cited by the Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment. The allegations reported by the Observer article are not part of the ongoing investigation by the Integrity Commission into the 8 MPs who are accused of illicit enrichment. In my view, this is a blatant attempt to confuse and mislead the public. I want to be clear. As leader of the opposition, I directly consulted with all sitting members of Parliament and senators of the People's National Party. And in these discussions, every parliamentarian from the PNP has confirmed to me that they are not aware of being investigated by the Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment. The PNP firmly maintains its position that any parliamentarian, from whatever side, who is guilty of the offense of illicit enrichment should face the full force of the law. They should be dismissed from public office and should never hold public office again. The PNP stands resolute in its commitment to transparency, accountability, and good governance. I urge the public to remain vigilant and recognize this report for what it is: a deliberate distraction from the Integrity Commission's investigations into the 8 MPs who have been identified for illicit enrichment. We want to know who they are, and we look forward to the reports coming to Parliament and being made public. This is a serious moment in Jamaica's political history, and I urge all Jamaicans to rely on credible, verified information rather than allowing partisan media outlets to distort the truth.
All right. So let me say something to Andrew Holness and his minions. Because we know, right, that any information, right, that Big Mama have, right, it came from Jlp. So what Andrew Holness and his minions had done, right, was they themselves breach the law. And you are going to hear hypocritical Andrew Holness now, right, coming out after he set up what he needs to set up, right, to create breach in the space. And then, right, he's coming out that he's concerned about the breaches. Andrew Holness, what you need to concern about is that as we speak, sir, your statutory declaration, sir, has not been certified. That is concerning. That is what you ought to concern about. Anyway, we are juggling. Let us play and hear what Andrew Holness has to say. Now let us read, people. Right? Holness concerned about the leak. He doesn't concern about his statutory declarations not being certified. And why should he? He doesn't care. Holness concerned about leak of Integrity Commission reports after you orchestrated, Andrew Holness. You orchestrated. Prime Minister Andrew Holness said he is concerned about the disclosure of information from Integrity Commission reports, which are yet to be tabled in Parliament. What you want to do now? Blame the Integrity Commission, right? Utilize your delayed tactics. What is in the Integrity Commission report, right? We need for it to be tabled. So these are tactics. Are you now going to drag out this to talk about breach? You understand? We are watching you, Andrew Holness. Let me say that to you. Last Thursday, the Commission submitted to Parliament an investigation report, an indicative ruling, and a special report stating its anticipation that the investigation report, which was submitted pursuant to a conformance with Section 54 of the Integrity Commission Act, together with the reference indicative ruling, full ruling, and Section 36, subsection 3, special report, will be tabled in the Parliament as soon as possible. So, Andrew Holness, we see that you're coming up with your derricks, right, of your minions, you understand, making report on matters that they're not supposed to be report on, and I'm speaking specifically to Big Mama, right? And now you now turn around, right, speaking on those breaches. You are just a hypocrite, which Jamaica don't know that you're a hypocrite. This was followed days later by an addendum to its investigative report. The Commission, in the media release, said it received a 6-page third-party witness statement 1 day after it submitted the investigation report to Parliament last week. The Commission say the third-party witness statement, this is what you must be troubled about, Andrew Holness. The Commission says the third-party witness statement is germane to the investigation report. All right, let us take that away. Now, we are going to get into the matters as fast as possible. We are getting there. Now, let us go to Integrity Commission. What we are going to do is to show you that Integrity Commission, what they are saying that, okay, as it relates to what Andrew Holness is talking about, right? Want to talk about breaches. Integrity Commission is saying clearly that they have not spoken to anyone. They have not spoken to anyone. And you know what? Rattigan and I, we are going to speak a little bit before we move on again. Now, as a matter of fact, hold on, Rattigan. Let me read what the Integrity Commission is saying clearly, that that breach is not coming from them. And then we speak on that other matter. So people, let us read as it relates to the Integrity Commission response, right? Because let me tell you this, I am telling Andrew Holness that he's in a conundrum. September 10, 2024, statement of the chairman and commissioners of the Integrity Commission. On Thursday, September 5th, 2024, the Integrity Commission submitted an investigation report, ruling and special report to Parliament. That report, ruling and special report, have not yet been tabled. Since the submission to Parliament, there has, however, been extensive public commentary, right, from Big Mama in relation to the purported contents of the report and ruling. The Integrity Commission wishes to remind the public, including media houses, that it is a breach of Section 53, subsection 3 of the Integrity Commission Act to report or make any public statement on an untabled investigation report, which Big Mama did. So obviously, Cliff Hughes had breached Section 53, subsection 3, right? Read as follows. And let us look what Section 53, subsection 3 is saying. Until the tabling in Parliament of a report under Section 36. All matters under investigation by the Director of Investigation or any other persons involved in such an investigation shall be kept confidential, and no report or public statement shall be made by the Commission or any other person in relation to the initiation or conduct of an investigation under this Act. Take this away. Take that away. Now, let me go to the panel. Brother Rattigan, as it is with Section 53, subsection 3, right? Speaking in regards of no one, right, or the entity that highlighted there should not be speaking on any of its content until it's tabled. So clearly, we have seen that Cliff Hughes are, let me ask you, Brother Rattigan, would you say that Cliff Hughes is in breach of Section 53, subsection 3? Go ahead and let me hear.
Definitely. He is. Or whoever, not just him, but whoever speaks about an investigation conducted by the Director of Investigation without it being tabled, they run afoul of 53.3.
Yes.
Now, the problem I have with the Act, and everybody who has heard me, anybody who has heard me speak about the Integrity Commission Act of 2017, know that I have serious problems with this law. It's severely flawed. It has a lot of loopholes in it. For example, okay, 53.3, we said, okay, the Mr. Hughes has breached this. The question is, what are the consequences? I haven't seen any consequences in this. What I've seen in this act is consequences for people who work for the Integrity Commission. If they breach, then they can serve up to a year in prison or up to $1 million in fine. But for somebody who's outside the Integrity Commission, unless somebody can point it to me, and I'm open to being fully corrected, I haven't seen it. So while it's saying that, yeah, there's a violation, the question is, okay, so what's the next step? What are you going to do if there's a violation?
Yes, what is the consequence?
And as far as I can see, there's nothing in there to address this. If it's proven that the leak came from somebody within the Integrity Commission, then there is a penalty for that. That person will suffer some consequences. But going back to your original question, whether or not Mr. Hughes violated 53.3, unquestionably, yes, he did.
Okay. All right. Let us, okay. So the next thing that I'm going to ask, Rati.
Well, actually, you know what? What Mr. Hughes said was that he put out a disclaimer. He said, I haven't seen the report. But then he proceeded to talk about the report. If you go back and you play it, he'll say, I'm choosing my words carefully. And he said, I'm choosing my words carefully because me no see it. That's what he said. But then he went on to speak about it. But then there's another reporter. There's a reporter who came on and he quoted the corruptions prosecutor from the report. So obviously somebody has their hands on that report. And you could reason that if somebody at Nationwide has it, then by extension, everybody has it at the radio station. You could make that argument.
All right.
But that's where we are.
But we are making certain just our own opinion now as it relates to who the report was sent to, right? And it's sent to Juliet Owners, right? Eli Clark, right? Tom Tavares, for instance,
right? and the clerk,
and others, and yes, and the clerk.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, if the Integrity Commission is saying clearly and categorically, right, saying that that breach didn't come from us, then it would be now just, fair to look on those four. Wouldn't that be, as it relates to, the breach? Persons who have access to the report.
Well, here's the thing: if I were put in charge of this, me not trust nobody. So what am I going to do? Yes. I am going to polygraph the director of investigation. I'm going to polygraph the complaint and information person. I'm going to polygraph the corruption prosecutor. And if need be, polygraph the members of the commission. Exactly. Then you polygraph the 4 people outside the Integrity Commission to whom the report was released. But I'm not taking anybody's word for it to say, well, then, I didn't leak it. That's not good enough for me.
Yeah.
We have to, and to be fair, you have to do it across the board. But somebody leaked that report. Somebody leaked it.
Okay. All right. Andrew Honest break his silence about his statutory declaration.
Again, so since we're waiting on Haiti, just a quick question. Has there been any discussion within the cabinet about possibly tabling the Integrity Commission reports ahead of the Parliament officially coming back? I believe it's on the 17th.
Yeah, well, thank you for the question. And I figured you were going to ask that question too. And so essentially in cabinet, we didn't discuss that. That was not discussed at cabinet at all in terms of the tabling of reports. That's a matter for the Speaker of the House, as you would recognize. And so that will be done at the appropriate time. And we don't plan to comment on it until it is tabled in Parliament. And I ask you to stand for our Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness.
Good morning, everyone. Please. I didn't get to hear what Minister Dana Morris Dixon said. Did she say that I can't comment? Yes, that's what I said. Well, I do take note of the tabling of reports. I believe one of them has to do with my statutory declarations. I'm pleased that they are now before the Parliament, and I am equally anxious to have them tabled so that I can address them publicly.
So the Prime Minister skillfully make a quick U-turn there, right? Doesn't want to deal with that statutory declaration thing and seeking a bailout. What you say, Rottigan? Because we are going to get into the deep investigation.
Well, we don't know what they submitted. I think 4 reports and a letter, right? We don't know what's contained in them. I certainly don't know what's contained in them. I have to see them for myself because I'm not going to go by what some people are out there propagating. But the thing is, it doesn't necessarily mean that all 3 statutory submissions will be addressed in whatever reports they've sent to the Parliament. It could be only one. It could be the one from 2021, or it could be 2, 2021, 2022, or it could be all 3. We don't know. So he's saying, well, you know, it's my statutory declaration. I wasn't quite sure if he said it in the singular or plural, but I'm just curious, as everybody is, to see what's contained in those reports, because the idea that you would send the reports to the Deputy Speaker of the House speaks volumes. Because the only time I think, and again, I'm open, subject to being fully corrected. The only time we've seen that was when the former Speaker of the House was in trouble, Marissa Dalrymple Philibert, and then it was sent to the deputy. This is, I think, the second time. So if we're following that line of reasoning, it would suggest that the Speaker is in some trouble. And then with the report, some of the reports are connected, like they did a 36, I think it was a 36-3 investigation, which they're allowed to do on their own.
Yes.
Right. And they said that was connected to one of the other reports. So it's confusing, it's mind-blowing. People are waiting with bated breath to see what the reports will reveal. But if it's true, based on what we've heard, that the corruption prosecutor declined to prosecute the Prime Minister for the bank accounts upon which his name appears,
right.
I have some serious problems with that. And I believe somebody was saying that she said, because it's so much hearsay, that she's saying, or she wrote that she didn't want to prosecute because it would be tough for her to prove intent. And I'm saying, because she said the evidence wasn't strong enough, and I'm saying, what more evidence do you need than to look at the regulations in Jamaica, where the banking regulations, where but internal or otherwise, where they say, in order for you to be on somebody's bank account, then you have to come to the bank. You have to come to the bank and sign.
Yes.
Now, did the Prime Minister go to the bank and sign on all those 4 accounts? Because if he didn't, then that's a violation of their internal policy. Because I know that, Aaron, if you go down there, you try that and you put Anne-Marie on it and you say, no, I'll put Anne-Marie on it and I just want to give you her name. They'll say, no. She has to come here, right? Exactly. So the Prime Minister did that. And if he didn't do it, then why was his name? Why does his name appear on the 4 accounts? There's so many questions to ask. And so far, I don't think there's anyone who has given us the answers yet, but we will, in the fullness of time, we will get to the answers. But I'm sure you have something up your sleeve. I see you grinning there. I know you have something up your sleeves.
Yes, I am laughing, Ratty, because you know what? Right about now, I want to put you on the spot a little bit.
Sure.
Right? Now, I want you to put your shoes, put yourself into the Integrity Commission investigator's shoes. And you are dealing with Andrew Warner's case, right? Because we see that they are using 4 accounts, and we know that, to me, that's the destruction, right? The target of the investigation, when I started tonight, I said, you're looking on, Ratty, income, assets, and liability. Said you are the lead investigator. Andrew Honest, in terms of when you question Andrew Honest, interviewed him, he gives you the reason as to how he amassed that wealth. Right? So we're going to dig into some things tonight. And the reasons, he gave you 3 significant reasons as to why he amassed the wealth. One was supplier's credit, and I need to write it down because I don't want to forget it. I'm going to go into it tonight. Supplier's credit, loans and of course, mortgage. What I want to prove tonight to the people of Jamaica and in the diaspora, that don't pay any attention to the 4 accounts. And if the Integrity Commission, you understand, narrow down their investigation to 4 accounts, we are going to redirect the Integrity Commission tonight. Because, Ratty, the Prime Minister said to you, right? You know that what you are looking at, you understand the allegation where the Prime Minister house, right, based on evaluator and evaluation report, right, the cost near $200 million. So the house is one. You are also looking on Jlp Development, right, that at the current market value when she reported that situation in court was $800 million. And is 2021 statutory declaration, right, is showing a total amount of $171 million. Where would you lead your investigation, Ratty?
Well, first thing is
that I said to you.
Hmm?
Consider everything that I said to you as it relates to suppliers credit, loans, and mortgage. So where would you lead your investigation?
Well, the first thing you start with how we started. You started,
Exactly.
okay, your first job. How much did you earn? How much did you pay out? Did you have student loans? Did you have a house, a mortgage? Did you have credit cards? Did you have a vehicle? You owe anybody? Then you got married. Did you commingle funds with your wife? Did you have a joint account? And did you maintain separate accounts even after having a joint account? Then you look at his wife. Where did she start? How much money did she? Because all of these you can get from the tax administrator.
Yes.
And remember now, as the Integrity Commission, you have a right to those documents in the pursuit of your investigation. So I would do all of that background, and so you start looking at overseas accounts. You start looking at wire transfers coming and going. You start looking at gifts. Did anybody give him anything? You start looking at whether there was a bequest to him, somebody dead and gave him something. You start looking at whether him win the lottery. You start looking at the various avenues whereby he could legitimately claim this money.
Okay.
And here's why I would spend the time to do all that, because when I sit down with him to interview him, there will be only one interview. He's not coming back for a second bite at the apple. And every question I ask him, I already know the answer.
Okay.
So that's how I would start it, from right there. Then of course, you start looking at his relatives, you start looking at his friends, you start looking at his connections, you start looking at all of those things. And the banking stuff, again, all of this stuff, and let me just pivot a little bit and say, the reason why I agree with everybody saying that the 4 bank accounts, they're a distraction, because a distraction, because if the Integrity Commission spent 3 years to come up with the 4 bank accounts in the same bank, in the same country, and if they did that, and then with SSL, because they mentioned that, he took money out of a financial institution, and they brought somebody in from overseas, a financial auditor, and he said everything was above board. If it took them 3 years to do that, then we need to disband the Integrity Commission. Okay. I have a son, 13 years old. He has no training in conducting investigations or conducting interviews or interrogation. But I can tell you this. I give him this case and said, look at this. I guarantee you that within a month, he would have found the 4 accounts, because you know why? There's something called common sense.
Common sense.
There's
Yes.
something called common sense. And if you're going to say, okay, we're going to look at this man for illicit enrichment, if we're going to look upon him then for how him getting money, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start looking at the banks, you're going to start looking at his properties, you're going to look at his possessions. And I'm certain my 13-year-old son would have found them 4 bank accounts within a month. So the question is, why take the Integrity Commission 3 years to come up with that? If that is the only thing they come up with. And I don't believe that's the only thing. I don't believe that's the only thing.
No, hell no. Right? Because the fact of the matter, as we speak, his statutory declaration has not been certified, and that is evidence.